Welcome, travelers. I'm Josh.
And I'm Lee Wanika, and this is Tabletop Journeys, where we will be your not-so-humble guides on the quest for RPG adventures.
All right, welcome everybody to our second episode talking about the adventures in the starter set. Once again, across the microphone from friend and co-host Mr. Lee Winnica Miller, and as he is very coyly revealing, we are going to be discussing the second adventure book in the starter set tonight, Keep on the Borderlands. So let's start the same way that we did last time, Mr. Miller. Overall impressions of what we're going to find in the book here.
I liked it, but it's an interesting animal. And at the end, I think I'm going to have a way I might have chosen to do this without changing anything that's in the book. I probably wouldn't have done the box set with 3 separate books. I would have probably had, well, I guess, I don't know. Maybe it would have been 3 separate books. I don't know. But
yeah, I think it makes sense to keep it 3 separate books. Like that's, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the flaw here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can tell you, I really liked it. I thought the NPCs were fun. They were not too deep. They were not too detailed, but they really were good enough to give somebody a good start. I also liked some of the direction that's provided to them, and we'll get to some of that a little bit later. But I like the layout. It's very similar to the other book.
Yep.
So we're going to, we had a great episode last week where we talked about the different encounters and how they all happened on a 2-page spread. Here, you'll find that they're happening on 1-page spreads because these encounters are a bit shorter. They tend to be more of a social nature. While there is some lean towards, some things might include some conflict of some kind if it goes that way. But the goal is not for conflict. And I think that was fun. So I like this book a lot. Got a lot of replayability beyond this set. This is if you are building your own world, you don't have to call it Keep on the Borderlands, but this is a great place to start your set. Your own homebrew campaign world. This is a good home base.
Yep. I would agree with you that as a entire set piece, you can pick it up and put it wherever you want. Call it whatever you want. I'm not sure, and I agree with you that all of the NPCs and the encounters were a lot of fun. I think that for a keep in the middle of the wilderness that is sort of, Keep on the Borderlands, it's a very like austere, auspicious title. I would have thought that some of the encounters would be a little less comical. And I think that they were comical.
What was the word again?
Comical. I think that they're a little funny. They're a little
okay.
If I say, I don't want to say the word juvenile because I think that that's got some negative connotations, but that's kind of where I'm going with that. They felt, what I mean?
They possess less pathos.
There's no gravitas,
Yeah. I would agree. And I think that's just
apparently by design. Yeah.
That's a factor of a starter set.
Yep.
But if you are advancing beyond your players, if you've played all these adventures, assuming your average session is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, you go through all of these sets. You and your players have been playing. If you meet once every other week, you've been playing for anywhere from 4 to 5 months. At the point you finish everything in this book. And if you want to use this as your home base, your players now know the game well enough that now you can start adding that gravitas. Your players will have connections with some of these NPCs. You will start to feel some things. You can start leaning into the tropes of some of your favorite shows, television shows and movies to add a little bit more danger to it. Like, this doesn't translate word for word to a grimdark setting,
right?
But you could still use this and put some grimdark dressing on it. You could use this and put some comfort cozy on it if that's the way you wanted to play. This is a nice canvas upon which you can paint all kinds of different things
Yeah.
upon it.
I not no. But again, I think that this is more just like coming down to like my game style having played for, 35 years. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
yeah,
And you know my game style. I'm
yeah.
all about the political intrigue.
Yep.
I'm all
Yep.
about the deep rooted
Yep.
and twisty plots. And but I saw this as I can get a brand new group of players to
Yep.
know this really well. And then I can start weaving it in, because once you finish this book, you'll have used all the rumors that show up here, right?
Yep, that's fair.
So now you have to start weaving in new rumors.
Yep.
And those new rumors can be more of that detailed stuff, because
Yep.
now the NPCs trust you or distrust you.
Yep.
Now they're going to choose to tell you the truth or not tell you the truth.
Yep, kind
So
of based
you
on
can
what
take
happens
this-
when you did the playthrough. Yeah, exactly. I think that
Yeah.
yep. That is fair. That is fair. I think that this book for me also began with two really, really important pieces of information. One, it gave you a really great table of contents on where all the the locations are in the book. That's very, very, and where they are on the map. That's very, very helpful. But also in the kind of the getting started section here, the note that each location is 30 to 60 minutes of gameplay. That is what I need as a DM to know how much game should I plan for. If I've got a 3-hour session and I know that each location is 30 to 60 minutes of gameplay, I plan for 3. I throw a 4th in there in case I need it, and now I have enough game to run. That's fantastic. So,
well, yeah. I think that's why, and I mentioned it in the last video, and other content creators, Teo Sabadia as in specific mentioned, the idea is do a keep encounter, then get out into the wilderness and do something. If your wilderness encounter is roughly an hour's worth of play, this is 30 minutes worth of play, and then one of those random encounters in the wilderness book is probably another 30 minutes of play. That's your 2-hour block. You have a 3-hour game window. Bob's your uncle. I think that's inherently how it actually plays out well. And that 3-hour block, by the way, mixes perfectly with a convention play schedule. 3 hours is a perfect time frame at a convention. Because generally you'll have 3 and 4 hour blocks. If you're playing in a 4-hour block, you have a 3-hour game that gives people time to leave. If you really get into a scene, you can give it some breath because you're not pressed for time at the back end. Nothing gets left on the deck. Really well done.
Fair enough. All right. Let's go ahead and start in here. I mean, there are a lot of scenes and things in this. I don't know that we necessarily want to take the time to go through like all 14 potential encounters. What are some ones that stood out to you? Like, what's something that really sung for you or didn't sing for you?
So the two I liked the most, and I'll let you decide which we go over first, was the gatehouse. And the bank.
I loved the bank. Let's dive into that one. I love it.
All right, let's talk banking.
Yep.
Quink is a great NPC.
Yeah.
I love the box tech is perfectly written. Like, they lean in and they whisper to the players so that nobody knows what's going on. Like, I love that. Like, I love that. And I've got a voice that I would use for Quink. And,
let me tell you something real quick. It's very important.
Yeah.
I think someone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you stepped away from your microphone when you started talking, so nobody heard that.
Yeah, that was my point. I was whispering.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the problem is that nobody can hear it because you were talking. Your
so nobody on air heard that. That was really
bad
bad mic discipline, but it was perfect for the players that are my imaginary players that are sitting on the other side of my camera from me. Because when I leaned towards the camera, they heard me well. There's nobody there, but
fair enough.
So I'll make believe anyway.
Sitting there with all his friends. I loved the bank. I loved the twist in the quest. I thought that this was the kind of encounter that I want in these adventures. I want something with like a little bit of it takes the players a little bit of ingenuity to figure out. It takes the players a little bit of there's something a little weird going on. I thought that this one was really, really well placed. NPCs were great. In general.
And what I really like, and not going to spoil it, is the fact that at the end, the players could miss the twist. There's a possibility that the players could miss the twist. And if they do, that's ripe for the picking at
Yep.
some other time.
Yep.
You know, I think that's brilliant. Like that can be a recurring.
Yep.
They missed that twist. You play outside of this adventure, like a couple months later, bring back that character and
Yep.
that character. Yes.
Now,
All day.
here's the other thing. I know that last time we talked about the fact that I was on some level trying to make the starter set something that it wasn't by introducing more advanced techniques. I'm going to go back to that horse, though, because this encounter, I think, was the perfect spot to introduce opposed challenges, right? Because when you have that encounter at the end, right, it lists the way that the characters can kind of figure out what's going on, but what they do not give you is when that character tries to deceive the the party that they're doing something that they're not, right? Or that they're actually doing something on the up and up when they're not, right? This was a that was one thing where I say, here's a way that you can go ahead and introduce opposed challenges. You don't have to make it heavy. You don't have to make it, but you can go ahead and have that character try to deceive the party and see how that plays, see how that feels to the party, right? But
So
yeah,
I'm of two minds about that, but I will say I agree with you. And here's how I split that particular hair.
yeah,
I think you're absolutely correct, but I think you can't do that with the structure of this. This is the character that uses this NPC block. You would have to make a unique character that has a special call out for that, because that NPC block doesn't really cover that well. There's not really a specific called out action for that. And in the context of a starter set, you need to say this person likes to deceive, use this ability. That's not listed with the block that they use.
does that
does
that person not have their own stat block? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it does. It does not have their own. It has the card for it. The NPC card is the character's name, and it says use X NPC stat block,
Gotcha.
and that's a generic NPC stat.
Gotcha.
And that's why that's where I don't think it would work under that context. You'd have to make a unique character, and that's the one thing the set doesn't do, which is have any unique NPCs. It has monsters and all NPCs. You just have this
use a humanoid stat block,
performance information for NPC block X.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
But I agree with you. It is the spot to introduce that. The other way they could have done that is taken one of the monsters that has that ability, and maybe they do in the next book. I haven't read that one yet either. That's what I'm doing after tonight. But maybe they have a monster that will use an ability that gets more into that opposition thing. And it would make sense, because guess what? Generally speaking, that is more of the third level encounters when you get into the caves. So that they might not want to trot that out at this stage. Because there's a lot more of the skill challenges and the nuanced ways of doing different skills and the different ways of approaching things all throughout this book that were not in the wilderness encounters. So there is a slight gradient of difficulty between the two books, even though narratively you should be going between the first and second book a lot. I think there's a gradient of difficulty that is a present here, and assuming that same gradient, what you're talking about, may, and I hope shows up in that third book.
I think that I think if I want to step back and say kind of my feelings on the adventures in this, or the encounters, because again, they're kind of like encounter pluses, right? They're a little bit bigger than a single encounter, but not quite a full adventure, right? That I think would be my general feedback on the encounters in here, is that I think they could have gone a step further than they did. A step closer to a true DM would be outside of the starter set, right? And I kind of keep coming back to like that piece of feedback, right? Like, let's talk about the smithy for a second, right? When you meet Callista, right? The whole bit about the fact that she does not make armor for people outside of the keep, and she has an entire reason for that. The fact that that is not her quest, that you don't get to explore that whole bit of lore, is sad to me, right? And maybe that is something that, like, as a DM, maybe that's an encounter that you do later after you've done the Caves of Chaos and blah blah blah. Maybe that's the dangling fruit that you can go ahead and pick off the vine later, right? But like, that's a natural kind of like, if you want to talk about like social investigatory encounters, she just states she does not make, because of all these things that happened, right? And she's upset because the bandits go ahead and every time she makes armor for people that don't live in the keep, they wind up being bandits and they wind up stealing stuff. There's gotta be some plot reason why that could be investigated and what the players could do to kind of get underneath that. And I think that was kind of a missed opportunity, right?
I do think, and I don't think they did it in the scope of this, and we'll know when we finish the Caves of Chaos, that because the GM knows the reason, there's ample opportunities for them to say any group of bad guy X, because again, I'm going to try to be a little less spoilery, but could be the group that caused Callista this pain.
Well, I mean,
right?
it says it in the block that you're supposed to read to players. So like everybody knows it. Everybody knows that she doesn't work with people because they keep winding up being bandits.
Yeah. So you could basically say all these bandits, unless otherwise stated, like if you do any random bandit encounters, these are bandits who stole her stuff. Yeah. And maybe the party just brings her stuff back because you see how she collects stuff and smelts it down. Maybe every time they come back to the smithy, it's like, hey, we met these bandits, more of your stuff. Yep. And that's the story you start building. So maybe when you're done with this book, the GM says, okay, where does everybody want to go? What do you want to do? They're like, you know what? I want to go. I want to shut down the bandits. We want to be wardens of the wild and get all the bandits that have been hurting our friend Callista.
Yep.
And maybe she finally decides, because they've been continually doing things, she'll arm them. And now you give them their first really cool things. Like maybe they don't have to pay for the big plate mail on the fighter or what have you. And now they go out and they start tracking down bandits and bandit captains because lovely enough, there's a bunch of bandits in the monster manual and those bandits get higher and higher CRs. So they could take out an entire bandit army that's out there in the wilds.
Yep.
I think it's there, but it's not written, as you're very fond of saying during our writing process. It doesn't matter if it's not on the page. That's why I agree with you, because it'd be nice if it's on the page. I think that's confusing and overwhelming for a new player. I would love for Wizards to do a small thing. Maybe they sell it through DM's Guild, or maybe they put it on D&D's Beyond,
Callista's
keep on the Borderlands for advanced parties or something. And they put up a low dollar PDF where it's like, hey, your party's been doing this, you're third level. Here's a way to keep this. Here are 4 different campaign starters based on what's in the box set. I would love to see something like that. And I am 100% confident that somebody is going to put that pardon me, on DM's Guild at some point.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, if we didn't have 17 writing projects in progress right now, maybe we could do that. But so
You know what else has done it by winter of 2027? Maybe we'll get to it.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite
we're booked out that far.
I think one of my favorites was the Guild House, adventure number 10. When you first meet Torin, I liked this a lot because I thought that the Guild House was, again, a really nice set piece that you can bring in. It has the kind of the administration offices, it has the library, it has workshops. It can kind of be whatever you want it to be. And I thought that whole ensorcelled spell plot line or quest, when you have to go ahead and put these scrolls back in their cases, and you open the box and the scrolls go wackadoodle. I thought that was, I kind of bemoaned the fact that all of the adventures are just kind of fun and a little light at the beginning. I really liked this one. In a bowl full of whipped cream, this was the cherry. So
I thought that was funny. I did get a little eye twitch because I was thinking about playing a certain purple knight who got laid low by a book. Survived almost every other thing we ever faced, but a dang flying book took him out in one shot. But I enjoyed that. For me, I really love the NPCs of the Gatehouse. The Gatehouse, which could be
Yep.
in any game, that
Oh, yeah.
is the most passable, forgettable encounter, or it's one of the best.
Yeah.
And I think just because of the quality of the NPCs as written,
Yeah.
it is one of the best.
I
I
mean, they're-
love
they're-
the two NPCs here.
Yeah.
I love the interplay between the two.
They're Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I mean, that is Shakespearean
That's what
in
it
its
is.
nature. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing about that I didn't like.
Yep.
I thought it was good. I like the instruction they give you because you come and go. Every time you come and go, you're going to pass through here, depending on what you do.
Yep.
And how you choose to interact with them. It gave you kind of the changes that happen throughout time.
Yep.
When we talk about replayability, this is the one.
Yep.
This is the one that you're going to see every single time.
Yeah.
You know, a pro tip for GMs. Do what you can to make those characters fun, really live in their skin, those NPCs, because your players will absolutely love talking to those two characters.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. All right. Here is, I alluded to this last time around. And here is the bit that I was talking about. Rotating DM model falls down if you're going to put real serious spoilers in the book, right? In chapter 11, in the temple chapter, there is a DM note there that spoils the entire ending. You can't do that. Because now, once I have read that, like it's on page 15. I see you flipping in your book. Page 15, section, number 11, the temple. It's about halfway down the page. It says DM secret. Spoils the whole ending.
Yeah, I kind of read that twice when it came across. I wanted to make sure it was the same thing I was thinking of.
Yeah.
If you're a solo DM and you're DMing the whole thing, perfectly
fine. Yep.
If you are, I almost wish there were a flip book where like this is a DM secret if you're running the whole thing only. If you're going to be a player at any point, do not
read this. Yeah.
Do not read this, and then you absolutely put it in the third book where it pops up.
Absolutely.
And obviously they put a lot of money into the set. A flip page within one of the pages was not what they were spending money on.
I have an easier, more cost-effective way to go ahead and do it, right? So they gave us this.
There.
No. Well, there's that, right? You don't put it there in the first place. Or what if, and maybe I am hinging on like some of the stuff that my 2-year-old has, right? But what if you like put that in blue writing against a red field, and then in the big fancy starter book with all the extra stuff, you put like a little one of those little decoder screens that lets you read the writing by holding it over there, and then you can just go ahead and say, "Here's a secret. If you're not the only DM, don't read this." But if you are, use your view screen and see the thing, right? I just think that those are cool, but. Yeah. But the point is though that like putting the secret here in the middle, because the way that it's written too, it's like, oh well, if I'm running the temple, that's a DM secret. I'm the DM right now. I guess I need to. I can't ever not be the DM anymore because now I know that.
Yeah.
Now I know that. Like that, and that's a bummer. That's
problematic.
Yeah, it's problematic because now if I'm a player, how do I especially if we're talking about brand new players, right? How does a brand new player know not to the next time that when they're no longer DMing, when they're the player, how do they not know? Because clearly, clearly the character that you're interacting with is worried about the thing that is revealed in that secret.
Yeah.
So how do you not say, oh, I know exactly where they are? They're at the caves. Like that's
that's problematic.
That's problematic. That doesn't,
So pro tip,
if
you are splitting this up amongst your brand new group,
don't read that.
Who do not do the temple adventure unless you are planning to be the only person running from that day forward.
Yep.
That's pretty much whoever runs the temple is now your DM for the rest of
exactly
this
right.
box set.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my big thing, right? Other than that, I mean, I thought again, like you said, as a set piece, Man Alive is this good. It's just really, really good. It is, and do I think that it could use a little bit like stronger NPCs, not stronger NPCs, but stronger quest lines within it? Yeah, sure, but these are also fine for first level characters that need to go ahead and chase after goats or whatever to go ahead and get up, to get some XP.
That was fun.
It's funny and it's comical. And it's just not the game that I like.
Yeah, right up until a goat kicks you.
You're right, exactly. Yeah.
Remember, I've lived on a farm, man.
Yeah.
I've had to chase goats and pigs and chickens and stuff.
Yeah.
Got stars to prove it.
Yep.
That's only funny till you get hurt.
Yep. So, but yeah, I thought in general.
After that, you're looking for some curry. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I thought really, really well done. I thought that. So yeah, I think the one thing that I would say is that I recognize that maybe there was some kind of like page count constraint or something like this, but like the whole ending the adventure paragraph at the very, very end, that is just like a couple of sentences at the very end, I think that could have used more. They could have really elaborated on that. And I think we have heard that on other shows and other people have said the same thing, that like the one thing that this starter set does not do is really equip players and GMs for anything beyond the starter set. That is it's a big miss. Exactly. They don't give any guidance on how to transition. And I think that one paragraph of like, hey, by the way, the adventure's over now, congratulations, is kind of epitomizes that. It's the end of Metroid when you beat the mother brain and it just says congratulations, you won, game over, right? It's like it's that. So it really needed more. It needs more there, so is what it is.
Yeah, it's how I felt back in the 80s when Tron ended.
Yep.
And then it took them 20 years to give me Tron Legacy.
Yep.
And then it took them another 13, 14 years to give me Tron Ares coming out next month or whatever.
It's the end of Quantum
and I will feel the same when that's done, and I will be 80 when they come up with the one that follows that.
Yep.
Disney, hear me on this. You better keep marching, because I will wait 20 years between them.
Yeah.
But you better keep them coming.
Yeah.
Or I will haunt you.
Yeah.
It's
the end of Quantum Leap. Dr. Sam Beckett never returns home, and by the way, here's how you end the adventure. It's like that's like it's we deserve
that brilliant
more.
handout. Yeah, that brilliant handout is awesome, but a handout at the end of an adventure, meh.
Nah, exactly.
But I will say, as meh as that is, that's a person who's been gaming since 1983.
Yep.
Who loves gaming, who knows what this game can be, saying that's meh. If this is the first game you've ever played, to finish it and be handed something, even if you don't get to go home with it. And pro tip, GMs, copy that bad boy. Go out and get some good parchment paper, copy it on parchment paper, spend out. When you have a group of brand new people get to the end of this, give them something so they can take it home.
Yep.
Do all the things, crumple it up, tea stain it, whatever you got to do.
Yep.
Make that cool as all get out, and they will frame that stuff, and it'll be the thing they remember. I remember the first time I got a handout that my DM had rolled up, crumpled, half burned, and used an actual wax seal like I used to read about in Dumas novels. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like my eyes are like, oh my God, this is great.
I calligraphied a land grant for one of my players. So like, it's hot stuff. That's the fun stuff. I guess one of the
red wine reduction I did when we played Vampire the Masquerade.
Right. Exactly.
Events. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
The other thing that I wanted to go ahead and mention here, kind of in the realm of opportunities that could have existed. I loved the inner gatehouse in general, and the inner bailey, and the way that when you move into the keep, I thought that's flavorful, and that's got the gravitas that I'm looking for. If I were running the inner gatehouse and the quest that's there, right, the one that's the quest where basically you test the defenses, this would be the perfect spot to introduce waves of enemies, right? So you start, your party's going up against one guard. Oh, okay, one guard's fine. Okay, now the next wave, you're fighting 3 guards, right? Oh, now you're fighting 5 guards and a captain. That kind of thing. Introduce waves of enemies. we talked before about how to go ahead and introduce like other things in the line of the quest here. I think that would have been a way to go ahead and introduce that because, for me, and I hear you that that people are not running all of the wilderness and then running all of the keep, so that now you're on the 12th mission of the keep. You've been playing for 7 months or whatever like that with the same DM. I recognize that that's not what's happening. But for me, I'm looking for those additional levers, like we talked about in the wilderness book, right? Where like basically how to go ahead and scale the encounter. Everyone is based on you add enemies or subtract enemies and you make it as strong as you want. If you start introducing waves of enemies, that's another lever on how to go ahead and increase the difficulty, right? If you're fighting 12 goblinoids, don't throw all 12 goblinoids on the board at the same time. You put 3 of them out there, and then you let the party defeat them or have some difficulty with them. And then while they're fighting those 3 goblinoids, 3 more goblinoids flank them, and 3 goblinoids flank them from the other direction. Now 3 goblinoids, now they're boxed in by goblinoids. What do they do, right? This would have been the way to go ahead and introduce that as a tool for the DM so that they can go ahead and use that kind of structure later.
Agree.
So.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I think that would have been a good time to do it because there's no stakes. Nobody's getting killed here. It's
exactly. Nobody's getting killed here.
The
exactly.
Perfect
Yeah.
time.
You know,
players get their posteriors handed to them. Wonderful. You learned something now.
Exactly.
Now
That's what I think this
elsewhere.
book, as kind of like the linchpin between the wilderness and the caves of chaos, that's what this book could have been. This book could have been where DMs learn skills on how to go ahead and structure different types of encounters or how to take encounters and manipulate them a little bit. So I would like to go ahead and see that. It's fun. It's a good set piece and everything like that. Experienced DMs will get a lot of mileage out of it. I think newer DMs could have learned a lot from this book, and they didn't. They chose not to.
Yeah. We're wrapping up, so I'll just say this. I think newer GMs will learn a lot from this book. There's just more that could have been there without a whole lot of extra being put into it.
Yep, exactly.
So I think it could have, there are elements and encounters that are S tier here, but most of them are B plus or A minus tier in this book. But B plus and A minus with 12 encounters, that's not a bad way to be.
Yep.
And you have the 3 S tiers that we spoke about. The gatehouse,
the bank,
the bank, and the other one you mentioned. I can't remember which one. But you are at least 2 S tiers. That's not a bad haul. And as we talked about the previous book, we had 1 S tier, 2 A's, and maybe 1 B. This is punching way above its weight class for a WotC adventure because I can't think of. I mean, there are a couple compilation books that hit an average like that, but not many. And, not many. Candlekeep, I think, hit it.
Candlekeep hit it.
I personally loved Radiant Citadel. That's a controversial hot take, but I will die on that hill.
No, I love Radiant Citadel also. Infinite Staircase probably didn't. So, I think the Golden Vault kind of was hit or miss.
This is hot. This is good. And I like where we're at. So I think we'll leave it at that for tonight. And John, take us out.
All right, man. So thank you everybody for listening. We will be back next week to go ahead and dive into the Caves of Chaos. And theoretically, Mr. Michael Ross will be joining us once again, back from back surgery. I'm very excited for that. Some order into the chaos that is the two of us spinning wildly into opposite directions. We hope to go ahead and see you again next week as we go ahead and dive into the last of the adventure books in the starter adventure. As I alluded to last week, if you have any interest in learning more about some of our printed products and stuff like that, now would be a fantastic time for you to go ahead and go check out our Patreon. Even if you sign up as a free member, we'd love to go ahead and have you just being involved in the conversation and seeing the stuff that's going on there. You can learn more information about that at www.patreon.com/ttjourneys. All right, sir. We'll see you next week when we dive into the Caves of Chaos.
Chaos!